pretty cool. These are my bookshelves. Okay, so just cut here. Hello guys, I hope you're doing fantastically. So today we're doing a bookshelf tour, and this is a requested video. My last bookshelf tour was 2017 and it is now 2019, so that's 2 years ago. It's about time. If you watched the last one, there's going to be a lot of books you've already seen, and the way this works is I'm basically going to pick out every book, say its name, and it's not going to be that much talking or opinionated. And then I'm just going to skip some shelves because it's really not important. But first, I will give you an overview. So I actually can't show you all of it in the shot because it's behind my sewing table. Yeah, down there. And this is like what it looks like-ish. Okay, so now you can see all the top shelves. Up there, I have just the top shelf are books that I don't really consider books that I'm ever gonna read. It's like English literature, dictionary books, and then I have some children books that I want to save, and then I have photography books, books about subjects, so I'm more like uppslagsverk, like books you pick out to look at and find information rather than just read from cover to cover. Yeah, those are over there. And then over here, I have my Harry Potter illustrated editions. It's a message. Illustrated editions, I haven't read those, but I don't consider them unread because obviously I have read Harry Potter. So, and then when we go down, this is my Harry Potter shelf, this is my Harry Potter shelf, and this is my Funko-ish Harry Potter shelf. And then we have Haruki Murakami and adult, and then I have my Frankenstein, Clockwork Orange, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy shelf. I plan to collect editions of all those books. Yeah, so I created this today. I'm really happy about it. All my classics, both unread and read. Here's my TBR shelf, and it continues all the way over here. These are all my TBR shelf. And then here is just books. Just different books. I don't know. Kind of magical realism / historical fiction. Then here's my Fantastic Beasts shelf. Okay, let's do the rest of it. Here, this one, and this one, and this one are my fantasy books. Favorite genre. Definite. Here's my like spiritual books as well as some poetry. Then I have supernatural books, and these two are my Swedish books, both unread and read. And here are my supposedly dystopian books. Here is some of my Norwegian books / albums and stuff. And then these two are my YA series. All of them are fantasy. And then here we have the Expanse series, both the read and unread, and the Song of Ice and Fire series. And then here is all my sci-fi. It's just one shelf. I know, I'm working on it. On this side, can you see that? Okay, so all of these are just like books that are not really relevant to my life anymore. So it's mostly YA books. I have these three are basically YA, and then we have like one small shelf of horror and thrillers and crime, and then the bottom shelf is the House of Night series, which I'm still considering if I should get rid of. In preparation for this video, I got rid of all these books. I'm starting something new. I'm trying to get rid of some books. Under my window, I have more books. Of course. I saw this somewhere and yeah, just really obsessed. So I have it on this side, and the back side is unread books, and then here are also these are also some unread books. So let's get started with the actual tour. So guys, some of these I'm not gonna take out of there. Okay, like my bookshelves because it's too much. But these are the adult editions of Harry Potter, and then up here I have the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets in the 20th anniversary edition in the Gryffindor house. And then I have some different Harry Potter books from different magazines, A History of Magic, A Journey Through a History of Magic, and then I also got this the other day. This is, oh, the wrong way. Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban on cassettes. I know, I don't have a Walkman, but my mom said I could borrow hers. And this is read by Stephen Fry. I'm so excited to have this. And then there's a first edition of the adult books, Philosopher's Stone, and then Tales will Be with the Bard, Fact and Fiction and Folklore in Harry Potter World, Film Magic, and then I have the English editions. I have the children's editions of Harry Potter, and then I have here our first time I read Harry Potter. These are the ones my mom read me, and they're all in Norwegian. And then that's a quick overview of my first Harry Potter shelf. Oh, I really should have lit all the lights and stuff for this video, but whatever, we'll skip that now. It's not important. We're here for the books. Literally can't believe I'm doing this, but let's go. Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Bagel. Queens of Fenburn by Kendar Blake. The Three Dark Crowns series. The first two books in the Seven Realms. Demon King, The Exiled Queen by Cinda Williams Chima. To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. Aaron by Simone P. Clark. Seriously Wicked by Tina Connolly. The Light Tree by Frances Hardinge, illustrated by Chris Riddell. A Skinful of Shadows by Frances Hardinge. Furthermore in Witchwood by Tara Muffy. Furyborn by Claire Legrand. Every Heart a Doorway by Shane McGuire. Perrier and Me by Ross Montgomery. The first book in the Beyonder series by Brandon Mole. This is The World Without Heroes and Seeds of Rebellion. The Disappearances by Emily Bain Murphy. The first three Percy Jackson books in 3 different editions. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. The Alchemist by Michael Scott. The Beast Player by Nahoka Waheshi. And I have read all these books, and also the next one. The Thinking Woman's Guide to Real Magic by Emily Croy Barker. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. The Graveyard Book. American Gods. Neverwhere, all by Neil Gaiman. The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch, as well as Red Seas Under Red Skies and Republic of Thieves. The Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Cristel. The Poppy War by R.F. Kwang. Nevernight and God's Grey by J. Christoph. The Play Charmer by Karen Maitland. Truth Witch, Wind Witch, and Sight Witch by Susan Dennard. Priori of the Orange Tree, Samantha Shannon. Peace and Turmoil by Elliot Brooks. And then we move on to the next shelf. This shelf will one day be my Brandon Sanderson shelf, but we're not there yet. The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Red Sister and Grey Sister by Mark Lawrence. A Slow Regard of Silent Things. A Name of the Wind. A Wise Man's Fear, all by Patrick Rothfuss. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. And here are all my Brandon Sanderson books. So we start with Elantris, Warbreaker, The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages, The Way of Kings, Words of Radiance Part 1 and 2, and Oathbringer, all by Brandon Sanderson. Red Queen, Glass Sword, and King's Cage, all by Victoria Aveyard. Ink by Alice Broadway. A Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. The Match trilogy by Ali Condi. The Name on Your Wrist by Helen Horns. All Rights Reserved by Gregory Scott Katsoulis. And then here's my first Swedish shelf. There was nothing really special to see here. This is my favorite Swedish book. And here we also have the first Peregrines book, which I read, and Paper Towns and Fault in Our Stars by John Green in Swedish. And here we have some unread books as well. This book, absolutely amazing. I really like her. And here are 2 first Fallen Angel books in Swedish, as well as I'll Give You the Sun by Jenny Nelson, which I still haven't read because I have it in Swedish. Then here's my Supernatural shelf. We have The Dam Busters on top by Matthew Hughes, and then Abandon and Awaken by Meg Cabot. I have read the third one in the series too, but my sister lost it. And then we have Accidentally Dead, The Accidental Werewolf, and The Accidental Human, all by Dakota Cassidy, Drink, Slay, Love by Sarah Beth Durst, The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin, Swoon by Nina Malkin, Team Human by Justine Larbalster and Sarah Rees-Brennan, Gail's All Fright Diner by A. Lee Martinez, Jane Jones' Worst Vampire Ever by Cassie St. Onge, Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders, the first two Vampire Diaries books, The Awakening, The Struggle, The Fury, and The Reunion, and lastly, Josie Griffin is Not a Vampire by Heather Swain. Here we have my spiritual books and angel cards as well as some poetry. Yeah, it's all really mixed together here. The Tent by Margaret Atwood, The Power of Flow, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, as well as Braving the Wilderness and Rising Strong by Brene Brown. These are all kind of mixed, read and unread. Assertiveness of Earth Angels by Doreen Virtue, as well as Daily Guidance from Your Angels by Doreen Virtue. The Compassionate Mind Guide to Building Social Confidence. The Sunflowers and Milk and Honey by Whoopi Kaur. No Matter the Wreckage by Sarah Kay. I loved this poetry collection. I haven't read that many, but it was so good. What If This Is Heaven and Dying to Be Me by Anita Moriani. Ariel by Sylvia Plath. I Wrote This for You by Ian S. Thomas. So here's my Frankenstein shelf. I'm going to take him away for a second. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley and this Penguin Poplar Classics edition. I have this edition, this comics edition, which is so cool. I really love it. It also has deckled edges. This edition, and lastly this Frankenstein edition, which looks really boring, but it's really beautiful on the inside. Then I have 3 copies of A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This one, and that one. 2 editions of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is the film tie-in edition and the pen edition. And these are just the rest of the books in the series, which consist of A Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe, and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless, which I still haven't read. And then up here we have my adult books, which I all classify as adult for sure. This is The Girls by Emma Cline, The Alchemist by Paul Coelho, Worst Person Ever by Douglas Coupland, Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro and The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson, With the 1+1 by Yo-Yo Moyes, Everything I Never Told You and Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, The Secret History by Donna Tartt, I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai, and lastly, The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Then up here is my Murakami shelf, The Underground, Carlos Tatsuki Tasaki and His Years of Pilgrimage, Norwegian Wood, Kafka on the Shore, Desire and Birthday Girl, 1Q84, Book 3, which I'm currently reading, Dance, 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 1Q84, Book 1 and 2, and lastly, Killing Commendator by Haruki Murakami. Okay, so these are classics. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, The Wizard of Oz by J. Frank Baum, Alice's Adventure in Wonderland and Through Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, The Never-Ending Story by Michael Onday, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Collector by John Fowles, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, Horror Stories by E. Nesbit, 1984 by George Orwell, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, The Little Prince by Antoinette Saint-Exupéry, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, Dracula by Bram Stoker, The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells, The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham, The World in Winter by John Christopher. And those are all the classics I've read, and now we're getting to the classics I haven't read. The Arabian Nights, Tales of 101 Nights, Volume 1, Foundation by Isaac Asimov, Pride and Prejudice and Emma by Jane Austen, Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick, Lord of the Flies by Willem Golding, Robin Hood by Henry Gilbert, Metamorphosis and Other Stories by Franz Kafka, The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, Perfume by Patrick Suskind, Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, Kurt Vonnegut's Timequake and the Sirens of Titan, The War of the Worlds and The Time Machine, both by H.G. Wells, Between the Acts by Virginia Woolf, and lastly, The Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham. So, I'll just quickly mention these books. This is an edition, French edition of The Little Prince, a nice edition of Dracula. I just really liked it. And special edition of Darker Shades of Magic, but it looks the same, which is really disappointing. I thought this was really important when I bought it, but it isn't that important. Then The Name of the Wind, the most beautiful book I own. It's amazing. I absolutely loved it, but I'm not gonna take it out because we're gonna save this. And then a book about dragons, a book about vampires, and the Lord of the Rings tarot cards. And then let's move on to the next level. So the next shelf, this one, and then continues over here. It's all books I haven't read. It's my TBR shelf. So let's get started. Armada by Ernest Cline, The Refrigerator Monologues by Catherine M. Valente, The Froude, The Authorized and Very Official History of Douglas Adams and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Jem Roberts, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King, which I still haven't read, all by J.R.R. Tolkien, Trainspotting by Irvine Welsh, Accidentally Demonic by Dakota Cassidy, The Tenth Insight by James Redfield, The Dark Vault by V.E. Schwab, Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, The Magus by John Fowles, The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, Sophie's World, which I just realized has the title upside down when it's lying. Like, it's the wrong way. Isn't that weird? I wonder if it's supposed to be like that. I know this is a Norwegian book, and I hate myself a little bit for reading it in English, but I just really like this cover. The Cloud Roads by Martha Wells, A Gathering of Ghosts by Karen Maitland, The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, Legion and Emperor's Soul by Brandon Sanderson. I still don't understand in what order or what these books are, so if someone explain to me, please do. Doctor Sleep by Stephen King. I wasn't planning to read this. It's the sequel to Shining, but I bought it because there's going to be a movie now. Blood Beneath the Skin, Alexander McQueen biography by Andrew Wilson. The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Burberry. The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. Wicked by Gregory Maguire. June by Frank Herbert. The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. The Danish Girl by David Epfershoff. Storm Dancer by Jay Kristoff. And then we have the Chaos Walking series by Patrick Ness. This is The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monster of Men. King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo, and Blood Witch by Susan Dennard. And those are all on this TBR. And then below that I have my Fantastic Beast shelf, and this is just an overview of that. And then to the side of that, I have just a random shelf. Crime and Poetry and Pros and Cons by Amanda Flower, The Changeling by Victor Lavelle, City of Beasts by Isabel Allende, A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Oseki, The Toymakers by Robert Dinsdale, Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and A Little Life by Hanya Yangihara. And this is the shelf below that. How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran, Forgotten by Kat Patrick, Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon, Price Guide to the Colt by Leslie Walton, which I just realized isn't together with The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, and it's really bothering me. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Casely, and this really shouldn't be in the young adult section. Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara, Looking for Alaska by John Green, and this is not with John Green's other books either, damn it. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, which isn't really a children's book either. And neither is The Crane Wife by Patrick Ness. What is going on with this shelf? How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow, which should definitely be here instead. Summer in the City by Candice Bushnell. Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Will Grayson by John Green, and I just realized I've moved to another shelf. Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Merkel. The Fault in the Stars by John Green, and An Abundance of Catherine by John Green. Every Day and Another Day Dave by David Levitin. The Disreputable History of Frankie Londo Banks, and How to Be Bad and We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, as well as Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, and Aristotle and Done to Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alaire-Sanz. I'm just going to continue down here because the shelves are kind of the same, or the books are kind of the same. Love Hurts by Mallory Blackman. The first 4 books in the Gallagher Girls series by Ali Carter. Perfect Chemistry, Rules of Attraction, and Chain Reaction by Simone Elkeles, as well as Leaving Paradise. Maybe One Day by Melissa Cantor. Pax by Sarah Pennypacker. History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls, and Bad Girls with Perfect Faces by Lynn Wingard. Below that, we have some thriller-ish books. Say Her Name by Juno Dawson. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. Girl Stolen and The Girl Who Was Supposed to Die by April Henry. Asylum and Sanctum by Madeleine Roux. Carrie and The Shining by Stephen King. The House at the End of the Street by Blake Luka Mostov. The Girl with All the Gifts by M. Art Carey. And these are all the True Blood books. Not all of them. I just got rid of the ones I haven't read. The first 6 in the series that I have read. On the bottom here, I'm not going to go through the books. This is the House of Night series, the first 6 in Norwegian, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4 other books in English, and then some other stuff. The Vampire Diary CDs. Ugh, I was so obsessed. Recursion by Blake Crouch. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. The Strange Fascinations of Noah Hypnotic by David Arnold. Space Opera by Catherine M. Malente. Warcross and Wildcard by Marie Lu. Just a random question, if you have like a series and you put them this way, should you have the first one on the top or the first one on the bottom so that when you turn it, it's the right way? I don't know. Please someone tell me. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Hyperion and the Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, A Record of Spaceborne Few, and A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. Then we have How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe by Charles Yu, and Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, which I'm both reading right now, so they shouldn't be here yet, but they're gonna be there like in 2 days, so I'm just adding them on. Crazy, I know. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. More Than This by Patrick Ness. Blade Runner by Philip K. Dick. Interworld by Neil Gaiman and Michael Reeves. The Humans by Matt Haig. Batman by Marie Lu, which I realize should probably be over here, so it's closer to those books. Renegades and Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. And then we have The Lunar Chronicles. I'm a little bit bitter that these are on my sci-fi shelf, but I feel like that's the most fit place for them to be at the moment. And also Ferris by Marissa Meyer. So those are all my sci-fis. Let's move on down. I am not going to take out these books either. These are the Expanse series. I have read the first 4 and not these 3, but I just really like having them together. And then on the other side of Miss Polar Bear here, we have the Song of Ice and Fire series, or the Game of Thrones series, which I haven't read any of them. So here all my young adult series starts, and I'm actually not going to take any of these out because I think everyone's heard of them, and also it's a lot of work when they're like in stack. So these are all my Victoria Schwab books. Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, Our Dark Duet, or The Savage Song, Vicious and Vengeful, as well as City of Ghosts. And then we have Shiver, Linger, and Forever by Maggie Stiefvater, and the Raven Cycle Quartet, as well as the last 2 books in the Fallen Angel series, or that I read the first two in Swedish. Then we have Wonder Woman by Leigh Bardugo, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and the Loom Saga by Elise Kova, I think her name is. So good, by the way. More YA. Here we have all of Renee Adje's books. The Rose and the Dagger, as well as Breath in the Dawn, Flame in the Mist, and Smoke in the Sun. This is a duology, this is a duology. Oh yeah, and this is Maggie Stiefvater. Where is she? That's supposed to be up here. Oh my god. I cannot. Okay, I guess we're moving that then. Now it's all Renee Adje. Reign of Shadows and Rise of Fire by Sophie Jordan. The Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy, plus Court of Frost and Starlight. This is Lane Taylor's first series, The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. And then over here we have An Ember in the Ashes trilogy, the first 3 books out of 4 I think that have come out, as well as Stranger the Reamer, Muse the Night Nurse, and A Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor. And on the bottom, I'll just give you a quick overview. Here are my Norwegian books, and it's not that many, it's just Twilight and Coraline and Norwegian, and yeah, a classic Norwegian. Not that much. I almost forgot about this little guy. So let's go through these books first. So on the top here I have Fly on the Wall by E. Lockhart, Death Note by Tsugami Uba, Stormfront by Jim Butcher, Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley, and The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. And all of these on this are unread books on my TBR. Here we have C.S. Friedman's Feast of Souls, The Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and The Long Darkly Tea Time of the Soul by Douglas Adams, a sun-bleached copy of The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, and Guards by Terry Pratchett, Arrows of the Queen by Mercedes Lackey. Then we have Arcanium Unbound by Brandon Sanderson. I have read Edge Dancer, I think it's called, in this one, and a few other things, so it's not completely unread. Mad Ship by Robin Hobb, Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan, Blood Song by Anthony Ryan, Across the Nightingale Floor by Leanne Hearn. And now for the other side. Night Shadow by Sebastian de Castell, Mistborn Era 2, we have Shadows of Self, The Alloy of Law, and The Bands of Mourning. Not sure which order these are in and don't really care at the moment. Anansi Boys by Neil Gaiman, The Grey Wolf Throne and The Crimson Crown by Cinda Williams-Chima, the 3rd and 4th book in the Seven Realms series. Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence, A Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington, The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, and last but not least, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So, not gonna lie, that was a lot of work. If you wonder if I've actually read any of these books, or actually read, you can look at the little hearts, because if it has a silver, gold, or a red heart, then that means I read it, and it doesn't mean anything different than the other colors. It's just, I like to do that, I've always done that. And you can follow me on Goodreads or friend me on Goodreads, that would make me so happy, and then we could talk about books together. And if there's a lot of books that aren't on Goodreads that I have read that are here, because I haven't put in all of the books I ever read on Goodreads after I started reading, so just the ones I did since I started BookTube are on Goodreads, but I've read much more than that, and I am so sweaty now. So that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, or please talk to me in the comments about books, I really love to. I hope you enjoyed this 2019 bookshelf update tour. It was a lot. I hope you did something fun or distracting while you did this and not just watch me take out one book after another. Also wanted to mention, I didn't count all my books, but I did count all my TBRs, and I have 99 books that I haven't read, which is good, and I'm going to try to keep it under 100. So let's see how that goes. That's a wrap on this bookshelf tour. I hope you have a brilliant day, and stay magical, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!